Hi, I'm David Lowe, the automotive sales coach with today's sales tip. Here's the tip. Ask them to buy. All right, sounds like a crazy tip. Ask your buyers to buy. I'll tell you, I heard this a long time ago and I believe it's true. They will never take the pen out of your hand. Now, why is it? I'm telling you, buyers are so afraid of making a mistake. I know I am. Afraid of buying the wrong thing, afraid it's not the right deal, right? They need reassurance. And when we positively, comfortably, confidently ask them to go ahead, we're reassuring them that they're doing the right thing and it's okay. So today's sales tip, ask your buyer to buy. Now you have to do it right. And that's why we developed the Excellence Roadmap. You can't ask your buyer to buy when you meet them. Hi, welcome to ABC Motors. Hey, if the conditions were right and you find the right cars, you buy a car. No, terrible time to ask them to buy. We already know they came to buy or they wouldn't be here. That's the wrong way to ask them to buy. On the Excellence Roadmap, we train you how to build relationship and trust that helps you go down the path, find the right car, and create desire and value and get a commitment. And in that commitment is when we're asking them to buy. You have to know how to ask them to buy, and you have to ask them to buy. Now listen, here's some research that shows that the average buyer buys on the third closing attempt. Isn't that crazy? The average buyer doesn't buy till they've been asked 3 times. Now, if most salesmen are asking 0 or 1, are they going to buy? No. Listen, most buyers buy in the third attempt. So what did we do? We built our trial close into the process so that before we ever present numbers, your buyer has already said yes multiple times specifically before you put the numbers down. So it's not about if they're going to buy, it's about how they're going to pay for it. If you're not on our Excellence Roadmap, now you need to get on it. This training is state of the art, and we call this process a velvet hammer because it helps our buyer. We're not pushing and we're not pressuring. Our buyer came in to buy a car, and it's our job to remove their fear so they can start enjoying the lifestyle that car represents to them. Now, I want to go over a couple things. Why don't we ask them to buy? Well, I always hear this. Why don't we ask them to buy? I always hear fear of rejection, fear of rejection, fear of no. Well, maybe. That's probably true. In some instances, I think that we don't want to hear no. We're hoping that somehow that the numbers will sell them the car, which is ridiculous. When has the numbers ever been less than somebody expected? Price is always more than they want to pay. The trade's always lower than they hope for, and the payments are always more than they expected. We know that. So it's ridiculous, right, to think that. But listen, we don't want to hear a no is maybe one part of it, but I think the bigger part of it is that we sent you out there to build a relationship with a buyer, and a lot of salesmen don't want to pressure their buyer or be pushy. This is terrible. And I know that you feel that way. I know you do, and I know why you feel that way. Sometime in the beginning of the process, maybe step 1, sell yourself or sell the car, your buyer has said, we're not buying anything today. We have to drive 72 cars before. Whatever they've said something to let you know, hey, I like you, and just so you know, we're not ready to do anything today. You hear that, you have a relationship, and so you're uncomfortable now asking them to buy. Listen, can I tell you something? That's ridiculous. Don't do it. If they didn't want to buy a car, would they be here? I want you to remember what we know. And buyers say these things all the time. As a matter of fact, I would bet you, if I asked everybody right now watching us, raise your hand if you sold somebody a car who said, I have no intention of buying a car today. Raise your hand. All right. How about this group? You've had people you sold a car to and they looked at you and said, I didn't plan on buying a car today. Raise your hand. So there you have it. When people say we're not buying today, don't let that register with you. That's just it's what something people say. What they're saying is, I don't want to make a mistake. If I find the right car and I feel comfortable with it, of course I want to buy it. That's why I'm here. But if I don't want to buy today. You need to hear the objection right down. So sales tip is what? Ask them to buy. So let me just walk through it with you. People would feel uncomfortable jeopardizing a relationship, asking them to buy. We're never going to make the sale. So here's what we did. We developed the softest, most powerful trial close available. It's 4 steps, but this first step is the key. I can do this first step with anyone, anytime. Let me give you an example. I'm not buying today, and you better not ask me. I'm not buying today. Don't pressure me. I'll walk out of here right now. Even that buyer we can ask them to buy using step one of the trial close, right? The buyer says, I have to go home and talk with my hubby, I got to talk with my wife, I got to drive 3 cars. Even those people we can ask to buy using the trial close, the first trial close. Now, let me explain to you. Here's what it is. When the buyer's driving back in, we're riding in the car, we simply say to the buyer, listen, Chris, if this is the one you want to go ahead with, pull right up front. If not, we'll pull it over there and we'll take a look at some others. Listen, this will never offend anyone. Even the person who said, don't ask me to buy today. Why? Did I use the word buy? Absolutely not. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If you don't give your buyer an opportunity to commit, they probably won't. They won't take the pen out of your hand. So what am I doing? No matter what the buyer says, if I use the soft trial close and they pull that car up front, they've just given me permission to do a little bit tighter trial close we call the 4-question. And of course, then that gives me, if they say yes, yes, yes to the 4-question trial close, then it gives me permission to ask them to buy today. Today's sales tip, you gotta ask your buyers to buy. They won't take the pen out of your hand. And you have to have a plan. Our Excellence Roadmap gives you, I think, the most powerful, comfortable plan on asking 100% of your buyers that drive a car to buy today. Good selling.